following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Back into Main Street Sports today. JP alongside Mo Patton. JP, I'm filling in for Chris today, so you'll get to see a little bit more of me. Take that for what it's worth there, Mo. But happy Thursday to everyone out there. And high school basketball, man, it is prime time, Mo. And you've had some good ones last night. We'll talk to you a little bit, but we got some good ones coming up this weekend as well.
Oh, no doubt. And before we get into Coach's Corner with one of those good ones, we missed our top story in the first.
Yeah, we didn't get to fit that in. So you want to knock that out?
We can hit it real quick.
Right.
Again, opening kickoff. Pro football coaching changes and hirings. And
again, another Chris Yao thing.
Well, as I mentioned, pro, because in addition to the Denver Broncos and the Chicago Bears announcing their new coaches in the NFL, the USFL has completed its head coaching roster as former MTSU offensive coordinator, among other things, Larry Fedora.
That's right. I forgot about that, Mo.
Yes.
It was a long time ago.
Well, I'm old.
No. You said it.
No. Larry Fedora, the hat, former Southern Miss and former North Carolina head football coach, will take over the New Orleans Breakers when they convene in Birmingham next month.
So not Sean Payton. He's not going to slide over to the USFL.
Sean Payton is not making the transfer, the transition from the NFL to the USFL. That would have been one great catch.
Tell you what.
No doubt. Who is going from the NFL to the USFL, however, is the stash.
He's still rocking that thing, isn't he?
Oh,
Jeff Fisher?
Can't stop, won't stop.
Hey, with the stash like that, why would you? Well,
there you go. Former Tennessee Titans coach Jeff Fisher has been named coach of the USFL's Michigan Panthers.
Okay.
So
Panthers.
The Panthers.
Where'd they get the Panthers out there?
That's what they've always been.
Is that what they've always been?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what Chris texted us, and if he don't know, nobody knows.
That's true. That's true.
Again, in the NFL, the Denver Broncos hired Green Bay offensive coordinator Matt Eberflus.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the Chicago Bears, hired former, I think, Indianapolis defensive coordinator. No, the Bears hired Eberflus. The Broncos hired Nathaniel Hackett. Excuse me.
All right.
Green Bay OC. Matt Eberflus, Colts defensive coordinator, now taking over the Chicago Bears and young quarterback Justin Fields. So be interesting to see how that works out. Apparently, the Jacksonville Jaguars are trying to bring former quarterback Brian Leftwich.
Yeah, good
back.
for Leftwich, bad for Titans, right? He's a good
I'm
coach.
not sure if it's good for Leftwich. I mean, he is a good coach.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure he's going to get the chance to show it there.
You hope so. I mean, with not Martin Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. What's up?
Yeah, with Lawrence there.
Jerome's in the
Yes. What he said, yes.
Anyway, I think Leftwich's concern in Jacksonville is the GM, Trent Baalke.
Yeah, that's true.
He's kind of balking at that. So we'll see how that goes.
All right.
Anyway, couple of pieces of hardware we want to give out real quick before we get to Wes Long,
All right.
as if we've not made him wait long enough.
Oh, he's got to be enjoying this conversation.
The N2Win Life Team of the Week, presented by Custom Stone Handlers, goes to the Independence boys basketball team for a pair of 2-point victories last week. The Eagles defeated Ravenwood 74-72 last Wednesday, and then doubled up with a 51-49 win on Friday, a televised 51-49 win over Franklin on Friday. So back-to-back victories prior to last night's tough one over at Central. But the Independence Eagles are N2Win Life Team of the Week. And our MTBJ, Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic Player of the Week from Zion Christian is Wesley Riggins. Averaged 20.5 points and 9 boards in back-to-back victories for Zion Christian. 19 and 11 on Friday in a big win over Frank Hughes, 22 points in a big win over Covenant Christian, who they see again tonight.
Okay. That's getting it done, Mo.
No doubt. So those are our pieces of hardware that we wanted to give out, and we want to get to Summertown coach Wes Long. The number 7 Eagles travel south tomorrow night, take on Loretta. Coach Long, appreciate you taking some time with us this afternoon.
I appreciate you guys having me. Thank y'all.
Survived one at your place the last time you played Loretto, 50-48 back on January 11th. Since won 3 games, took a loss to Columbia Academy up here in Columbia. But, you know, what is your what are your expectations as you go south on 43 for this one tomorrow night?
You know, I think we're playing pretty well right now. We did survive one at our place a couple of weeks ago, but, you know, I didn't feel like we played particularly well. I think we turned it over 20, 22 times in that game. You know, so I think there's obviously a lot of room that we can get better, you know, but I don't think Loretta was particularly healthy at that time. But I think we're playing some of our best basketball right now. You know, the loss at CA, giving up 84 points, was not something that we really wanted to do. But I feel like we've had a pretty good game plan both times we've played those guys and executed it. Just let it get away from us for about 4 minutes. So hopefully we can continue to play well like we have the last couple of games and carry that to Loretta tomorrow night.
Since that 84-73 loss to Columbia Academy, defeated Giles County 77-73, defeated Mount Pleasant 78-48, and a couple of nights ago a 76-34 win over Lewis County, all in District 10 AA play. Wes, it looks like the transition from Class A to Class AA has gone about the way we on the outside looking in kind of expected it to, as in not missing a beat.
You know, I'm glad it looked like that to y'all. You know, there was just a lot of question marks going into this season. You know, graduating 3 starters, last year. You know, we felt like we may have to hit the reset button just a little bit, but you know, having somebody like Gavin Burleson playing for us and carrying a lot of the load has really helped. You know, bridge that gap for us. You know, we had some really other guys step up and play well that we really weren't expecting. We've had a couple of freshmen step in and play well, and then some upperclassmen that wasn't getting as much time. They've really stepped in and have shot the ball well and really defended. To, you know, kind of get us off to this really good start.
Gavin Burleson, Class AA Mr. Basketball hopeful. Gavin Burleson averaging 26 points, 7.1 rebounds, 3.9 assists per game for the 17-5 Eagles, who again are ranked number 7 in the state. Tell me what you like about him. There's plenty to like, obviously.
There is. You know, Gavin's done so much for us since he was a freshman. You know, he's more than a scorer. You know, he's been such a joy to coach. Because he leads us in every statistical category, you know, and he shows up and practices and plays hard every day. And he's really just a great teammate. You know, he's one of those guys that it's really easy for his other teammates to kind of fall in line with. They enjoy playing with him. You know, Gavin's the type of guy that, you know, when he talks, people are going to listen. And, you know, every coach wants a guy like that. So, you know, it's going to be a sad day when Gavin leaves us here. But you know, he's one of those guys that have definitely left. He'll leave Summertown a better place than what he found it, for sure.
You know, Wes, you talk about him leaving, but I mean, when is the last time that there's not been a Burleson on the boys basketball team at Summertown? Because
it's been several years. Yeah.
I saw. Obviously, you get used to seeing him. You see Grayson, and earlier this year, a Kurt Burleson snuck into the box score, and I'm like, another one?
You know, he is, you know, and he's not a brother, but you know, it's the same family. And Kurt, you know, he's another freshman that has kind of found his time on the floor. He's got a great knack for the ball. So you know, I think we're set up pretty good for the next few years. With a lot of guys, you know, Cole Campbell's another freshman that's really played well for us this year. So we've got some underclassmen that are ready to kind of fill in when these seniors graduate.
And it looks like Caden Trotter is overcoming his lineage pretty well for you.
He is, you know, poor guy. You know, anybody that has to put up with his dad, you know. But you know, Coach Trotter was my coach in high school, and you know,
I'm sorry.
Really, I know it. It helped us in many ways. But Caden is a great leader. You know, he's almost a double-double about every night with 10 and 8. But you know, Caden's a guy that you can't replace. You know, we're a different team with Caden on the floor. You know, and hopefully he can stay injury-free and stay out of foul trouble enough to help us make a run.
Wes, JP here. When I talked to you earlier in the season following a big win against Lawrence County, you talked about if you could play defense like that the rest of the season, you'll be in good shape. Are you getting to where you want to be on that defensive side of the ball now that you're heavy in district play?
You know, I don't know that we're ever going to quite get there. But I think we're making progress. We're taking a couple of steps in the right direction. You know, our biggest problem is we just give up too many easy ones, whether it's gambling or whether it's just a silly live ball turnover. You know, our turnovers on the offensive end have really not helped our defense much because we allow teams to get going. We really got to cut those out and just take away the easy layups. If we can just kind of keep our guy from a straight line drive and just contest jump shots, I think you'll see a big difference. You know, and that's something that we've really been working on.
What do you take from the first meeting against Loretto that you can use in the second meeting?
Obviously, our defensive efforts. You know, we've got to build on that. I think that's been our best defensive performance of the year. You know, holding a team like that to 48. You know, we've got to try to duplicate that somehow. You know, we're going to have to mix it up some. But, you know, anytime you can hold a Tobias Sermones with his size to 7 points, you know, I thought Caden Trotter did a great job on him that night. You know, is that going to happen again? Probably not. But we've got to find ways to make just enough plays to pull it out, you know, because, you know, if anything, what we take away is it can be done. You know, Loretta's been so dominant the last 4 or 5 years. You know, just the confidence of pulling that close one out against them. Hopefully we can carry that into the tournament.
It's going to be fun, Mo.
It is going to be fun. I'm looking.
By the way, Wes, I don't know if you heard earlier, Mo told us this will be his first time down to the barn. What a better introduction into that environment than when Summertown, when you guys are going to be down there.
Well, I hope we don't disappoint. You know, I hope we can. I hope we can play with them and play well enough to get a good game. I don't know if it'll be as good as last night. The Central game.
Wasn't that something? I tell you, Wes, it was funny looking up and seeing you up there, and looking up and seeing Chad Hall, the girls coach from Richland, up there, and some other folks. I guess that Wednesday night did some good for you guys, huh?
It did. And, you know, Nick Campbell and I are such good friends. You know, we kind of lean on each other a lot. Talk quite
Be
a
careful
bit.
who you say that to, Wes.
He said it in public, you know.
That's right. I'll claim it was good to finally get out there and see his team play. And, you know, he's got a really talented group. I was glad to finally catch his game.
That's great. Wes Long, Summertown boys basketball coach, the number 7 Eagles travel Friday night down to Loretto for the Uncivil War. Hey, thanks for joining us here on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe over in Chapel Hill. Renee Hart and her folks serving up a lot of great stuff over there. Be sure and go check them out. Wes, thank you for your time, and we appreciate it. Good luck tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, there you go. Yep, that's going to be a fun one, Mo. I'm glad you're going to go see that. And those guys they're kind of under the radar a little bit. Ranked, of course, but they're a little under the radar.
Well, their first year in AA and that kind of thing. So, but
don't ever sleep on Summertown, no matter what classification they're in.
There you go.
Don't ever sleep on them. All right, we got a lot to still get to here on the program. More high school hoops. Mo talked about that Central Independence game. You were there last night. He'll tell us all about it, so stay tuned. That's coming up here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joints.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today. JP Plant filling in for Chris Yao along with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton on this Thursday. This week has flown by. By the way, we're back in the studio. You and I are. Chris, of course, a little under the weather, so we hope he's feeling better. But it's good to be back face to face, Mo.
Well, you know what's interesting is Chris has been in the
He
studio
has.
and we've not.
That's right.
So now
Go
we're in the studio and he's not.
I
So
know.
ideally we can get all three of us
One
in the
day
same
soon.
place at the same time
Yeah.
here pretty soon. But as Wes alluded to in the last segment, Wes Long, the boys basketball coach down at Summertown, there was a pretty big ball game last night, little Wednesday night action. As Independence traveled to Columbia Central, the last two unbeatens in District 12 AAAA
Nice.
or 12-4A, depending on your preference. Anyway, Columbia Central goes in 16-2, Independence goes in 18-4, and it was everything that those numbers would indicate that it might be. Came down to a couple of free throws at the end by Q Martin with 4.1 seconds left, knocks them both down. Jet Montgomery's off-balance three-pointer just before the buzzer went begging, and the Lions deal the Eagles a 63-62 decision. We've got coverage of the game. We've got box scores, which will show that Q Martin scored 26 and Jet Montgomery 17. And who else scored? We've got pictures and we've got videos of the final two sequences, Q's free throws, Jet's desperation shot, all on mainstreetmurray.com. So go check that out.
Yeah, that is obviously the place. And, it's interesting having Wednesday night basketball. How did that feel, by the way? I mean, did it feel that you? It's probably no different than any other day.
I don't
for
think
you,
it was
right?
any different. It was interesting. I think the crowd was more there for the game than for the Wednesday night specifically. Again, like I said, Chad Hall from Richland was up there. Wes Long was there. Those were the only two coaches that I saw.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if there were more because, again, pretty big ball game. And by playing it on an off night, you had an opportunity for that kind of thing to occur, sort of like a Thursday night football game.
Was this a makeup, I guess?
Because Murray County Public Schools were
Gotcha.
in remote on Monday.
Gotcha.
They were unable to practice. This game had originally been scheduled for Tuesday. Nick Campbell proactively pushed it back because he didn't want to go into that game without any practice. I don't blame him.
Sure.
And so that's how that came about.
Okay.
But yeah, nice crowd. Wasn't the crowds that longtime Columbia Central fans got used to in the old facility, but I don't know if we're ever going to get back to that, to be honest. But again, obviously a game that was deserving of the attention that it drew, and don't want to overlook the ladies in this ball game as Columbia Central's girls picked up a 57-35 win. Josie Parks getting 18, Janiah Riley 14 in that win as the Lady Lions under first-year coach Megan Moore continuing to surge in the right direction. But again, this guys game, we talked earlier in the week when the Associated Press top 10 polls came out. Neither of these teams were in it. And as a longtime AP voter, I hesitate to throw anybody under the bus, but the fact that neither of these teams is at least receiving votes in the top 10 is pretty amazing.
Hopefully, after seeing this, you would think that what Columbia is doing, and they're doing it up a classification from where I guess they've moved up with everybody else to that top one.
Yeah. I mean, they, from a enrollment standpoint, Columbia Central in basketball is probably going to be among the top schools in the state from an enrollment standpoint. So it's they moved up this year with the new 4-class system, as did Independence. And really, I think both these teams are deserving of consideration, even Independence with the loss. They're still 18-5. Columbia Central's only 2 losses to this point are to Lebanon, which is ranked, and to Pope Prep in Division 2 AA.
By the way, almost beat undefeated Brentwood Academy earlier this week. Lost by 2 points, or Friday night, I think it was. So
yeah, but at least both these teams are getting their due in the Main Street Preps rankings. I believe Columbia is 5th this week and Independence is 14th, and Columbia certainly holding steady with that victory last night. They play Friday at Overton, and that will be a boys only game.
Okay.
Apparently, the Overton girls coaching staff opted not to play the return game, so that'll be a 7:00 start in Nashville for Columbia Central and Overton boys, and then on Saturday, Nolensville comes here.
Okay.
And that one's a makeup as well, but that's a 5:00 start with the girls, and then the boys will follow. So
speaking of the new classification, the 4th classification, the Williamson County schools were kind of broken up. Columbia got mixed into that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of, having seen now half a season and some district play, is it going about how you thought it might? How would you rank kind of at the top of these two?
I didn't really have a feel for how it was going to go because there were a lot of coaching changes in Williamson County over this past offseason. Brentwood boys and girls both have new coaches. Independence boys and girls both have new coaches. You've got Hillsborough and Overton both mixed into that 11 4A district with Franklin, Brentwood, and Centennial. And then you've got a Nolensville team that came up from Class AA into this district, this 12 4A district with Independence, Summit, Columbia Central, and Ravenwood. So there were some unknowns there. Didn't really know how it was going to shake out. But I tell you, saw Franklin last Friday night against Independence, and they look really good. They've got a 6'5" junior, Jack Medalley, who is really tough. And that was a big win for Independence, I think, that 51-49 victory that they got on Friday. So, but there's a lot of talent and a lot of good teams and a lot of good coaching going on in that region. The top 4 teams from each of those 2 districts will go to the Region 6 4A tournament. So
that'll be fun. Where's that going to be? Do you know?
Not sure yet. I'm not sure if that's been set, but got a lot of folks trying to stay out of that 4-5 game, basically. So see how that goes.
That's going to be a battle all the way through. If you can get out of that, you maybe like your chances in that sub-state sectional round for sure. So, all right, first half is in the books. Halftime coming up. Mo and I will. It looks like Christmas tree decor when it's coming down. Have you got your stuff down? I guess we'll talk about that on the other side. I may have to confess on some things, so stay tuned. Halftime coming up. Second half, we'll talk with Michelle Voepel, ESPN.com, who covers all of women's basketball, and we'll get her insights as well. So all that coming up here. Main Street Sports Today. JP in for Chris, and the Hall of Famer Mo Patton will be back after this short timeout.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
right, it's halftime here on Main Street Sports today. JP and Mo here with you on this Thursday.
I got a question.
Yeah, ask away, Mo.
So, as I was sitting at home
Uh-huh.
getting ready for the show, looking around, when does your Christmas tree and decor come down?
Okay, the tree and the most of the decor, especially inside and the stuff that you would really notice on the outside, came down, I believe, the first week of January. So just after New Year's, right around the New Year's holiday, we got that stuff down. Now, I do still have lights on the gutter, at the edge of the roof. Those are still up. Now we turn them off so they don't come on at night, but they're still there. At some point, and Jody and I had a conversation about this. She's like, at some point, we can't just leave them up all year round. It's like, yeah, you're probably right. Even though you don't turn them on, they're not that difficult to put up. I mean, it's a ladder and you like 6 different times.
But it's time consuming.
It is time consuming.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why I hadn't come down yet.
So there you go.
But typically around the first of the year is majority of it.
I think a happy medium between the first of the year and now is probably
So
good.
So when you looked around, did that remind you that it needs to be done?
Basically, yeah. But see, here's the deal. That stuff went. You remember when we were in Chattanooga for the Blue Cross Bowl?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's when it went up.
Okay.
Wow. So I had no part in putting up the tree
Okay.
or the wreath or any of that stuff. We don't go real hard.
Was that later than normal? Because that was first week. Well, no, that wasn't bad. It was first week of
No,
December.
that's about right. That's
Yeah, a
about
week
right.
after Thanksgiving.
We typically go about 6 weeks. The first
Okay.
of the month until maybe mid-January. This is a little late, but Jody kind of likes it.
You put a lot of time and effort into. Sorry, get the right music. There we go. Multitasking over here.
Uh-huh.
You put all that time and effort into putting it up. Enjoy it for
There
a
you
little
go.
bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that the whole point of putting it up there? So you can
No.
enjoy it.
Certainly not hurting anything. And we've got cats, and I mean they've not been in them.
Well, there you
So
go.
yeah, it's not hurt. Yeah.
No harm, no foul, right?
So I guess the question is, when does our Christmas tree come down? And I'm not sure, but it's kind of becoming part of the norm at this
Okay.
point. I just hope we don't get to spring break and it's still there.
Well, then we'll know what you'll be doing spring break.
There we go. Yeah.
All right, halftime is over. Stay tuned. Second half coming up. A little NCAA SEC hoops to talk about. Also, Michelle Voepel with ESPN.com will join us. And a grab bag in our final segment. Mo's got a lot to get off his chest, so stay tuned. That's coming up here. Main Street Sports today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner. The look of a winner.
Second half of Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Coming up, we talk with Michelle Voepel, NCAA Women's Hoops. She covers it all for ESPN.com. Plenty of stuff to get into. A grab bag in our final segment and some NCAA hoops as well. All that coming up in the second half. In for Chris today, I'm JP Plant alongside the Hall of Famer Mo Patton. We welcome you in to Main Street Sports Today, Thursday edition. On the back side of that big old hump.
There we go.
The big old hump. We're getting close to the end of the work week, so excited about it. Back in the studio, you and I are. I was at home for 2 weeks. I was thinking on my drive up today, Mo, it's been 2 weeks since I've been in the studio.
Welcome back.
Yeah. So I've got a little cabin fever, so I'm glad to have gotten out today.
Well, and I think it's been about the same amount of time for me.
I guess so. Yeah, we've all been that way.
Yeah,
Chris has been in.
Chris has been in because he couldn't stay home.
a little aroma.
Yeah, I wonder how the skunk situation is going. I've not gotten an update on that.
I dropped off his computer this afternoon, and I did not notice. So I guess it's better. It must be better because I didn't notice it. He would probably be immune to it, so he may not even smell. But I did not notice it. So that was good.
That's a good thing. Yeah. I mean, if you can go to his house and not go, oh,
exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, that's good. Little SEC basketball took place last night, as we mentioned in the rundown. UT with a 78-71 win over visiting Florida at the Tommy Bowl, improving to 14-5 with that win. Were the 18th ranked Volunteers. Despite looking at CBSSports.com here, because I didn't get to see the game because, as we've already mentioned in the show, I was a little busy. But UT went 5 minutes in the first half last night, did not get off a shot, turned it over 7 times. Hard to do, said Rick Barnes.
That's not the first time they've had a slow start. Was it the Ole Miss game? You sent a text one night, and you were like, we're into the first timeout, and Tennessee hadn't scored. Nobody had scored.
Yeah. I don't know if they're limited offensively or what exactly it is, but they struggle now. Once they started scoring, apparently they couldn't stop. Again, they finished with 78 last night. Santiago Vescovi, excuse me.
Vescovi. Okay, Vescovi. I like that.
Yeah, well, I thought it for 3 years it's been Vescovi. I don't know what changed, but yeah,
that's right. They have changed how they call him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 23 points, 5 of 8 from behind the 3-point arc. As UT overcame a 13-point deficit in the first half for that win. Went from 12 turnovers in the first half to 4 in the second half. So I'm sure that the turnover situation was addressed at halftime.
You think that was on the dry erase board? You think Ray Barnes was maybe big circles?
It was on what's left of the dry erase board, probably.
What wasn't broken?
Yeah, exactly. Big win for UT there. Kennedy Chandler added 17, the freshman point guard, continuing to play well. And Zakai Ziegler with 11 points, 6 boards in 26 minutes. That kid's been a find for the coaching staff up there. So big win for UT. Florida falls to 12-8 with the loss. Meanwhile, your Commodores.
I had this game on last night on my second TV.
Your second? What was on your first TV?
First TV. Jody and I are into a show, so we put that. That's kind of the compromise I have with television with my lovely wife is we'll put the show that she wants to watch, that we want to watch on the big TV, and I can have she lets me keep that TV out. So I just put on a game and I can keep an eye on it. So it's worked out well.
That's cool.
It's worked out well. So I had that on the smaller TV.
Is there a reason you did not mention the show by name?
No, it was Outlander.
Oh, okay.
Outlander. Yeah. Getting back into Outlander. There's a new season coming out, I think in March, but we're getting back into Outlander.
Okay.
But yeah, watching this early in the second half, Vandy got to a 9-10 point lead and looked like they were going to just slowly kind of take over this game. And then all of a sudden, South Carolina goes on a 15-1 run, and they've got the lead, and then they just take a huge lead and dominate the rest of the way. I don't know. I'm starting to wane a bit on Stackhouse on whether or not because they're so close, Mo, and you see glimpses of a really solid basketball team. Now, they've still got some injuries. Everybody does, but they've got some guys that would be contributing that are not contributing. So they're not working with a full deck, if you will. So I don't know how to do that. But, the win at Arkansas early in the year and
the win at Georgia.
The win at Georgia.
Georgia's not great, but they've beaten some good
Uh-huh.
people, and they just beat Alabama over the weekend,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah,
So,
they're no slouch.
Yeah.
Nobody's a slouch in this conference right now.
Right.
It's a very and that's why I'm not too concerned because it is so competitive right now. And so I don't know what to make of Vanderbilt right now.
I don't think you're the only one
Yeah.
facing that dilemma. And the stretch that you were talking about, with 11:22 remaining, Vanderbilt led 47-39.
Yeah.
South Carolina answered with an 11-0 run.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much, like you said, took control of the contest from there on. So, despite 24 points out of Scottie Pippen Jr., 10 more from Jordan Wright, Vanderbilt gets swept for the season by the Gamecocks of South Carolina.
I don't know what it is about that team. Vandy seems to not match up well against South Carolina. Lost by 2 at Memorial earlier in the year in a game. Again, they had a lead, I think, late in the game. They just Frank Martin knows how to coach his team against Vandy for some reason.
He does a good job.
Yes, he does.
Vanderbilt hosts that Georgia team that we were referring to just a second ago on Saturday, and that should be an interesting as Tom Crean brings his bunch in here and tries to hang on to his job.
I was going to say, are you surprised he's still there?
I'm not surprised he's still there right now.
Cause
I may be surprised if he's still there next year.
They don't look that bad. They're competitive, and maybe that's why he's still there. But you look at the record over the last 3 or 4 years, it's horrible. They've been kind of the consistent cellar dweller, along with Vanderbilt, I must say, I guess, in the Southeastern Conference. But they've got some good players. They'll surprise you every once in a while. Like you mentioned, they beat Alabama. Of course, I don't know if that says something about Georgia
or about
Alabama.
Right. The Georgia Vanderbilt game's a 5:00 start on the SEC network on Saturday, and it's one of 2 conference games on Saturday, as everyone else will be participating in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. Tennessee goes to Austin, back to Rick Barnes' old stomping grounds, for a 7:00 matchup with Texas. That one will be televised on ESPN.
There's some good matchups in this Big 12 SEC. Kansas hosting Kentucky, I believe. There's some really good matchups.
Here's the full slate. LSU goes to TCU. Yep. Missouri is at Iowa State. Oklahoma comes to Auburn. West Virginia is at Arkansas. Kansas State is at Ole Miss. Oklahoma State is at Florida. Baylor's at Alabama, and Mississippi State goes to Texas Tech, in addition to the aforementioned UKKU and UT matchups.
Talking about Alabama, and Chris kind of forecasted this a little while ago. They've beaten Gonzaga when they were number 1. And I think they've beaten another top 10 team, and then they've lost a ton of other games. So who knows? That's Baylor better watch out. But the Auburn-Oklahoma game is intriguing to me too. The second game with Bruce Pearl and Auburn at number 1.
And that's not not the only news here of late with Bruce Pearl either. We may get into some of that later in the show.
All right. On the other side of this break, Michelle Voepel, ESPN.com, will join us. She covers women's basketball. Looking forward to speaking with her. So stay with us here. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. We'll be back to Leak Up the Studio right after this.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Oh, hot, hot.
Yeah, it's hot, hot, hot. All right. Multitasking over here. Welcome back. JP in for Chris, along with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton. So hot, 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 hot. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Might as well have a good time, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you can't laugh at yourself, what's the point?
Amen. Amen, my friend.
Hey, welcome back to Main Street Sports Today. That's JP pushing the buttons. Some of them right, some of them not.
Some of them
much. Not. Yeah. And I'm Maurice Patton, and joining us in this segment is ESPN.com women's basketball writer Michelle Voepel. Wanted to pick Michelle's brains about one of the favorite women's basketball teams in this area, anyway. The Tennessee Lady Volunteers, who are ranked number 4 in the country, off to their best start since the 2007-2008 season. And Michelle, I don't want to ask you if you're surprised that Tennessee is ranked number 4 in the country, but I do want to ask you if you're surprised that Kelly Harper has been able to get things going so solidly in this direction as quickly as she has.
I don't think so, in part because, we still think of her, you and I know it doesn't seem like that long since she's been a player.
It doesn't seem like that long at all, Michelle. You're absolutely right.
So, but she's been a head coach a long time, starting with Western Carolina. So, Western Carolina and her time at NC State, her success at Missouri State, I think she came into Tennessee at a really good point in her career. You just feel like she got a lot of experiences at different places. She understood she'd already been through trying to quote unquote, not necessarily replace, but come in after one legend with Kay Yao.
Mm-hmm.
And that was difficult. But I think coming with Pat, obviously she didn't have to come in, Holly was in that role of filling in right after Pat. So I think that was really good for her. Honestly, one thing just stood out so much to me last year when there were so many tough questions being asked with coaches, and rightfully so, about how they were supporting players with Black Lives Matter. And I remember with Tennessee, the way that Kelly talked about that, how open and sincere she was in support of her players, I thought, she really does understand today's kids, which is so important to be successful. So I think while I'm not sure any of us thought for sure they'd only have one loss at this point, I really felt like last year, I remember thinking to myself, she's really growing into this job, and I think is going to be very good at it. I think this is a good fit for her, and it's a good time in her life and her career for her to come into Tennessee when she did.
Playing tonight against Auburn, 7:00 Central Time start for that one on SEC Network Plus. Monday night, they've got Arkansas over in Fayetteville. This looks like a stretch of the schedule, Michelle, where they can really, I guess, stay on a roll. And their only loss was to Stanford back 3 weeks to a month ago, but it looks like they can continue rolling here before they face UConn on the 6th.
Yes, and I think it's going to be interesting because going into that game, I think they're going to be favored. So it's been a while since there was the Tennessee. Obviously, we know it was a long period where they didn't play, but it's been a while since going into that game that they would be favored. And I agree with you. They, in a lot of ways, they represent right now to me sort of the best of the old style Tennessee teams. They're a really good rebounding team. I wish they'd cut down on turnovers, but I could say that for a lot of SEC teams. Actually, I think sometimes that's just the pace they play at and everything. But
Right.
I like a lot about this team. I felt terrible with Kean Green getting hurt, just because I think she was such a good off the bench player and backup for for Tamari Key. But this is a really solid team with a lot of top-notch talent on it. And it's also nice to see, I think Jordan Horston is really rounding into form to be the type of player that Tennessee was hoping she would be when they recruited her.
At the same time, they played around some injuries and some absences. You mentioned Karen Green. Ray Burrell was kind of in and out early on, but they've kind of batten down the hatches and continue to move forward. And like you said, Jordan Horston has been a big lift for him, and Burrell has kind of gotten in where she fits in to some degree.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great point, because when Ray got hurt really early on, everybody thought, okay, hey, she's, the thought was she is, the best player on the team. What are they going to do? And they really just have played so well, even when they didn't have her, that bringing her back was just it was like a bonus. Getting the transfer Alexis Dye, I think was a really nice transfer because she's a really experienced player. Sarah Puckett's played really well for them. Jordan Walker's played really well for them. So that's why I feel like just the talent on this team is really legitimate. We don't want to look too far ahead, but boy, that South Carolina Tennessee game now that's become the game. People are looking forward to that even more than Tennessee UConn. But we always do look forward to Tennessee UConn, especially the old folks like us, right?
Exactly.
Who remember the old days of it, and I think it's going to be an interesting game, especially because it means a lot to UConn since they lost South Carolina. That game was called off. Tennessee's the last chance they have against a power conference foe. So I think there's going to be a lot riding on that game, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Speaking with Michelle Voepel of ESPN.com, their women's basketball writer. I'm sure you're not their only one, but writes women's college basketball for ESPN.com. And Michelle, you mentioned Alexis Dye, the transfer from Troy. I don't know that I've seen a UT roster with as many transfers as this year's team does. You've got Dye from Troy. You've got Jordan Walker from Western Michigan. You mentioned Kean Green transferred in from Liberty. The transfer portal, I guess, is having its impact everywhere, right?
It's completely changed, the sport. This is something 20 years ago, you really couldn't imagine either Tennessee or UConn really having very many transfers, or any other really top program. It just didn't happen that much, but it has changed everything. And I think now schools really have to think about, like, men's and women's side, have to always be thinking about their roster in a little bit of a state of flux, and sort of thinking and anticipating the worst, if you will. And they've got their eyes on that transfer portal, and you look at literally the number one scorer in the SEC, Rakia Jackson, is in the transfer portal now, in the middle of the season. So that's just become it's almost as big a part, if you will, of the game now as recruiting.
Michelle, this is JP. I had the opportunity to be around Dawn Staley a little bit when I first started in my career over in Charlotte when she was with the Sting. But obviously, what a career she's had coaching. What makes her so special? Why has she been able to do this in South Carolina?
I think there's an authenticity about Dawn, and it goes all the way back to, when I first experienced it, I was working in Virginia when she was playing there in the early 90s. And people just gravitate towards, I think, people who they feel are authentic. And she definitely has that with her recruits. She has it with her fans. I don't think there's been any, you guys may know better on the men's side, but I know there's been no women's basketball coach who's used Twitter more effectively than Dawn has. She answers individual fans. A fan might say, hey, we're coming up. We're going to be in Arkansas, and you guys are going to be there, and I'm bringing my 9-year-old. Is there any chance we can get a picture? And Dawn will respond. She spends a lot of time on Twitter responding to fans, and so that whole community feels like they know her. And that's been a time commitment. So I think that's a big part of it, which has created this great fan base, which brings in recruits. And her being, a Hall of Fame level player, as we know, that doesn't always translate for coaches, but I think for her, it has. And it's just been that mix of all those things that Dawn's been able to do to build the community support and make that a place where people want to go play. And then she's capitalized on that with recruiting.
At Dawn Staley on Twitter.
There you go.
I'm one of her many followers, by the way. And as Michelle mentioned, that UT South Carolina game is coming up on February 20th, about 3 weeks from now. Between now and then, still a lot of ball to be played, but like you said, there's going to be a lot on the line when that one takes place, Michelle, and it's over in Columbia. And again, there's a lot of basketball to be played, but do you feel like UT is ready for that one?
Everything they've shown so far, I think so. Obviously South Carolina still is going to be the favorite. I think they're the favorite against anybody. They're going to be playing from here on out, with Aaliyah Boston, I think, is the overall favorite for National Player of the Year. Just the guard strength that they have, the depth that they have, even with, one of their top incoming freshmen, Raven Johnson, getting hurt. So I think it's going to be a tough test. We're going to have a NCAA reveal tonight, but if Charlie Crean's bracketology is right, we're going to have, those two teams, Tennessee and South Carolina, are both number one seeds. I don't know that will change based on who wins or loses, the game in Columbia. But like you said, there's still some time left, and we all know SEC basketball. Sometimes stuff surprises you. You think what's going to happen, but it is such a tough league, and that's not a cliche. It is so tough that I don't think anybody thought South Carolina was going to go into Missouri and lose. But they did. So there's still basketball to be played, but we could have that battle, if you will, a battle of two number one seeds, even before the SEC tournament comes.
Got to ask you, Michelle, what are your early thoughts regarding Shea Ralph at Vanderbilt?
She stepped into something, into a position and a program that is in such a low point. And Mo, you and I know, because we've seen them at their high point. I think they're getting ready to honor Jim Foster. There's something kind of bittersweet about that, about where the program was for a long time and where it is, now. But I believe she's experienced nothing but success as a player, as an assistant coach at UConn. So I really want to give her some time. And when you come into this league, into the SEC, there's just no mercy, none at all. And so obviously she's got to recruit. She's got to keep their spirits up. It's tough when they just got done playing South Carolina and only scored 30 points, which is brutal to watch.
Yeah.
But that's not what her pedigree and her history is, and she is just stepping into that job. So I want to believe she has the skill and the hard work and the ability to turn things around. But it's tough. It's tough to see, just because we know what Vanderbilt can be and has been.
Michelle, you'd mentioned obviously Shea coming from UConn. Where is that program now? Not for so long, Gino had this program a top team 2-3 at worst. Are we towards the end of this dynasty, or where do you see this at this point?
I still think they're in pretty good shape. One would assume Gino can't coach forever, and they're going to go through the same thing that every dynastic college program in pretty much any sport has gone through. Obviously, we saw it with Tennessee, with losing Pat. UCLA, it's never been the same really since losing John Wooden. So I think eventually they're going to go through that. He seems still just as energized and motivated, even though he has, some of his pity parties occasionally. But here they have, they have Paige Becker's sideline, and Izzy Fudd just came back last night. She hadn't played since November 14th. So what could be scary about UConn is if they end up, I think Charlie right now has them projected as a 4 seed, but let's just say that's where they end up. They're going to be a pretty scary 4 seed, even if Paige doesn't come back, but especially if she comes back. So, right now I'd say they're still, they're right there. A lot of people are probably reveling in them, when they fell out of the top 10. And, that's okay. People get sick of them. I totally understand that. I get sick of them. I'm not going to lie to you. So, but at the same time, they've just got a lot of talent, and if they get healthy, they could be a real danger in the NCAA tournament, as always.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to face them for sure, Mo.
No doubt. Michelle Voepel, at Michelle, that's MECHELLEV on Twitter, at Michelle V, covering women's college basketball as well as the WNBA for ESPN.com. Michelle, thanks for spending some time with us here on Main Street Sports today.
Hey, thanks for having me, and thanks for spotlighting women's basketball. I appreciate what you guys do.
All righty.
All right. Enlightening. I tell you what, doesn't get any better than that if you like women's basketball. And again, I know Chris was listening in, and I'm sure he missed that opportunity. But we'll get her back because, as you were telling me leading into this, she knows her stuff. She's been around it for a while, and we covered quite a bit of women's basketball there
in that short a period of time.
And she had an answer for all of it. All right, Mo's Grab Bag. We'll see if this may become a regular thing. Maybe we get a sponsor for this one, a grab bag, a little variety pack. Mo's Variety Pack is Grab Bag coming up next. Main Street Sports Today with the Hall of Famer Mo. I'm JP, and for Chris today, we'll be back right after this.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader-building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 931-548-4448 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
All right, we made the final segment here on Main Street Sports today. JP filling in for Chris. He gets feeling better, and the Hall of Famer Mo Patton. Both of us back in the Lee Company studio. We have one Lee Company studio today as opposed to three, which we've had the last couple of weeks. So I hope everyone's having a great Thursday. Good stuff there. Michelle Voepel, ESPN.com. If you like women's basketball, first of all, go find her on Twitter and follow her on ESPN.com. But we'll get the podcast up with her interview. Some interesting stuff. Lady Vols, 18-1, I believe, if I'm mistaken. Third in the country or third in power rankings. Fourth in the AP. Fourth in the AP. Third in the ESPN. That's what I was looking at earlier today, the power rankings. That's exciting up on Rocky Top because nobody loves women's basketball more than the Orange.
And the thing, it's exciting.
And the light blue.
It's exciting, but it feels like that's where UT's supposed to be.
Uh-huh.
The last few years have been the aberration. This is the norm. And so that's what's exciting about that, I think. So, yeah.
No question. Mo had a lot to get off his chest. So in our grab bag segment today, he's got 6 or 7 things to get to. So Mo, just let it rip. Just like pull a Band-Aid off and just get it.
Just some things that caught my eye over the last few days that we, for whatever reason, didn't get in but needed to. Today, Ben Roethlisberger announced what most everybody felt like they knew.
No surprise.
He has retired from his NFL career, 18 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers, most all of those as their starter. And
did you see his announcement?
I have not looked at it.
Go check it out if you can. It was really well done. He's got his family there, a little video, and it was well done.
The journey has been exhilarating, fueled by a spirit of competition, yet the time has come to clean out my locker, hang up my cleats, and continue to be all I can be to my wife and children. I retire from football a truly grateful man. 18 years, 2 Super Bowl victories, Rookie of the Year, 5th most passing yards in NFL history, 64,000 and some change, specifically 64,088. And I know that there is a girls basketball coach at Summit High School who is kind of feeling it today. John Weil is a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So,
he had to see this coming. I mean,
I think again the last few weeks of the regular season, the way things went down, I don't think it was a surprise. And CBS Sports has a list of 7 potential replacements or successors to Ben Roethlisberger.
Already, okay.
I'm not going to get into why it may or may not happen, but they've got it all broken down on there. Number 1, Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
Number 2, Kenny Pickett. Now, I will get into this one because they say why this may happen. Steelers founder Art Rooney said that his biggest professional regret was not selecting former Pitt standout Dan Marino in the first round of the 1983 draft. With that in mind, Rooney's grandson, Steelers president Art Rooney II, may be inclined to have his team select the Panthers' current quarterback in the 2022 draft.
Pickett's there.
Pickett knocked off Marino for the top of the Pitt career touchdown passing list. So he's number 2. Number 3, Russell Wilson.
Wow.
Number 4, Ole Miss's Matt Corral.
Okay.
And number 5, Liberty's Malik Willis. Number 6, Steelers backup Mason Rudolph. Did not realize he was still there. Number 7, Nevada's Carson Strong.
Okay.
So, or somebody else.
Pickett seems like a good fit if he's there.
Right.
Because the Steelers get in the playoffs, they're going to be middle to the back.
Yeah, they're going to be 24 and up, I would think.
I would think you'd have to move up to get Pickett, wouldn't you?
You would think, because I'm sure some other quarterback poor teams have got him pretty high on their draft board as well.
And I think he probably would be worth it, especially for Pittsburgh, for the Steelers.
Yeah. I mean, again, given the dynamic there, playing at Pitt and everything.
I know you got a ton of other stuff, but real quick about Ben, and it kind of fits into another one, the anniversary of Kobe's passing, Kobe Bryant, but both of those guys, a similar path in their long careers. They had some hiccups early in their personal lives, and they overcame those. Obviously, Hall of Fame careers on the field and on the court, but off the field and off the court, a pretty impressive turnaround from what they experienced as young athletes. Because when you think of Ben Roethlisberger and Kobe Bryant right now, you don't immediately think of those issues. I think they have done as good as anybody, good star athletes, of getting through through those murky waters and coming out on the other side and living that what they had hoped they could do. I think so. I thought that was interesting.
2 years ago yesterday, we lost Kobe Bryant, and we were remiss in not mentioning this on yesterday's show, clearly. But I have to say I wasn't the biggest Kobe Bryant fan during his playing career. But to your point, some of the things that he was doing off the floor in his retirement made you have to at least respect him. And certainly what he did on the floor, you had to respect that. I just wasn't necessarily a fan.
What an Oscar. I mean,
yeah,
dude was talented, whatever he did.
And was really making some major moves in terms of girls and women's basketball. And so, like I said, we certainly wanted to recognize and pay our respects to the 2 year ago passing thereof. Louisville yesterday making a move. 11-9 doesn't get it at U of L.
How long has Mac been there?
I think this was his 3rd year.
You think that's one of those places that has a overinflated self-worth?
I don't know, man. Louisville basketball, I mean,
they've got tradition now.
They've got a lot of tradition. It's been a while since they've played up to it, which goes to your question. But I think when they've got the right guy, they can do some damage. I just think they've kind of, like every program, and like Michelle Voepel was saying in the last segment, everybody kind of stumbles around in the wilderness for a little bit. But if Louisville's able to get it right, I don't think it would take them long to get back up. Now, they're now in the ACC, which is, it's not new, but when you're dealing with some of the other programs that you're dealing with over there, it won't be as easy for Louisville to get back up as it was when they were in the Big East or wherever else it was that they were. So that will bear viewing as that goes. They've named a interim coach, Mike Pegues, who was on the staff there. So keep an eye on that. Bruce Pearl's name has been connected to that. I'm intrigued.
You can't stay somewhere too long.
Well, I'm intrigued by that for a number of reasons. I don't want to get too deep into it at this point, but we will definitely be talking more about this as we go. Here locally, on Monday night, former Independence basketball standout Grayson Murphy became the all-time Ohio Valley Conference leader in assists playing for Belmont. He's got 702 for his career.
That didn't take long.
Oh.
Good for Grayson.
He's been playing almost since day one there. So congratulations to him. Speaking of Independence, last Friday night at their game against Franklin, they recognized wrestler McCoy Newberg, two-time state champion, and softball standout Jessica Twaddle as the newest inductees into their Athletic Hall of Fame. So congratulations to both of them as well.
Who you got on the first takedown tomorrow?
Tomorrow, we've got TSSAA Assistant Executive Director and Springfield High School Wrestling dad,
Right.
Mark Reeves. Yeah, so we should have that down by this time tomorrow. Look for that. That's going to do it here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. That's JP Plant, Chris Yao, Hustle Back. Well, what is it John Wooden says? Don't hurry, but
be quick.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Something like that. Yeah, get on back, man. And we got most everything in the grab bag, but not all of it.
Well done.
That's
well
okay.
Done, Mo.
Hey, appreciate you guys watching. Check us back out tomorrow. We'll be right here.
There you go. That's Main Street Sports Today. Talk to you tomorrow.